This is the Synthetic Signal Report for Tuesday, March 31st, 2026, in the afternoon. Today's analysis examines the $852 billion valuation of OpenAI and the massive source code leak of Anthropic's Claude code tool. We look at the launch of PhAIL, a new real-world robotics benchmark, and the expiration of a global ban on digital trade duties at the World Trade Organization. This report also covers China's aggressive expansion of pumped storage hydropower and Eli Lilly's $6.3 billion acquisition of Centessa Pharmaceuticals. Finally, we analyze new technical frameworks for autonomous topology optimization and efficient expert streaming for edge artificial intelligence. OpenAI has officially closed a new funding round, valuing the company at $852 billion. This capital injection is intended to accelerate the next phase of the company's development, specifically focusing on the massive compute requirements for its upcoming frontier models. The scale of this valuation reflects a strategic consolidation of capital around a single dominant player in the generative intelligence space. This is not just a financial milestone, but a technical one. The funding is earmarked for expanding global data center infrastructure and securing long-term energy contracts. Analysts suggest that OpenAI is moving toward a more vertically integrated model, potentially designing its own specialized silicon to reduce dependency on external hardware vendors. This funding round indicates that the cost of staying at the frontier of model development is increasing exponentially, requiring nearly $1 trillion in market confidence to sustain the next generation of scaling. In a significant security failure, the entire source code for Anthropic's Claude code command line tool has been leaked. The exposure occurred through a map file accidentally left in the public NPM registry. This is an update to our coverage from earlier today, as the full extent of the 51,000-line leak has now been analyzed by the research community. The leak reveals several internal mechanisms that were previously speculative. Technical analysis shows that Claude code includes a Tamagotchi-style pet logic and a highly persistent, always-on agentic framework. The source code contains specific regular expressions designed to catch developer frustration, allowing the model to pivot its strategy if the user appears dissatisfied with the code output. Furthermore, the leak exposes an undercover mode and the internal prompt patterns used to coordinate agentic subtasks. While Anthropic has removed the original files, the code has already been mirrored across several preservation repositories for defensive security research. This event highlights a critical vulnerability in the software supply chain, where the metadata of a project, like a map file, can reveal the underlying logic of proprietary systems. A new benchmarking system called PhAIL has been released to provide objective data on how well vision language action models perform in physical environments. While digital models are often tested on virtual benchmarks, PhAIL focuses on real robot tasks using the Franca FR3 hardware. The benchmark evaluates 4 specific models: OpenAI 0.5, GR00T, ACT, and small VLA. The primary task is bin-to-bin order picking, which is the standard operation in modern warehouse logistics. Initial results show a significant gap between lab performance and production reliability. By testing these models on identical hardware with the same sets of physical objects, PhAIL provides the first grounded set of numbers for commercial robotics. This allows companies to move beyond promotional videos and see the factual success rates of these autonomous systems in high-volume, repetitive tasks. The global ban on taxing digital streaming and downloads expired on Monday after World Trade Organization members failed to reach an agreement to extend it. For decades, this moratorium prevented countries from applying customs duties to cross-border digital transmissions. The expiration of this ban marks a structural shift in the digital economy. Governments may now begin implementing taxes on everything from Netflix streams to software downloads across national borders. This development adds a new layer of complexity to the global software supply chain and could lead to increased costs for digital services in regions looking to generate domestic revenue from international tech platforms. Simultaneously, China is building physical energy infrastructure at a rapid pace to support its renewable energy goals. The country now has more pumped storage hydropower projects under construction than the rest of the world combined. These reservoirs act as massive physical batteries, allowing the grid to store excess energy from wind and solar farms by moving water between elevations. This is a grounded response to the intermittency of renewables, providing the grid stability necessary for high-density industrial hubs. This is a signal from the future. A new framework called AutoCMP has been introduced to transform natural language descriptions directly into validated structural designs. This is an under-the-radar development because it automates topology optimization, the process of making parts as light and strong as possible. Instead of manual engineering configuration, the system uses a large language model to parse an English prompt into geometry, supports, and loads, which are then solved by an adaptive physics engine. In a related under-the-radar development, researchers have unveiled expert streaming. This architecture allows mixture of experts models to run on edge devices with limited memory. By using a multi-chiplet design and dynamic trajectory scheduling, the system can swap experts in and out of active memory in real time. This reduces the bottleneck of off-chip memory access, making it possible to run massive, sparse models on local hardware without the latency typically associated with cloud-based inference. The community is reacting with concern to reports of massive layoffs at Oracle. Employees report receiving termination notices at 6 in the morning, with system access revoked immediately. Analysts suggest this is a structural shift, with 30,000 jobs potentially being cut to pivot the company entirely toward artificial intelligence infrastructure. In security chatter, a critical vulnerability has been identified in the D-Link DNS series and DNR series of network storage devices. Over 20 different models are affected by a flaw that allows for remote code execution. Because many of these devices are end-of-life, they may not receive official patches, leaving home and small business networks vulnerable. Community members are also tracking a series of vulnerabilities in the SonicWall email security appliance. These include improper input sanitization and a denial of service flaw that can be exploited by an authenticated administrator. On the tool side, the repository for Claude code system prompts has gained nearly 1,000 stars. It provides a reconstructed look at how agentic assistants coordinate their subtasks and security classifications. Finally, the X-Skill project has emerged as a niche trend, using distilled model data to mimic the speaking patterns of specific individuals in a digital environment. This concludes the synthetic signal report for Tuesday.